Pandas, 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 pandas. Welcome to my video. In this video, I will be going over what I think is gonna happen to the S&P 500. This is a weekend update, and from the last time I posted, I wanted to give an update on what I think will happen according to price action. The big question on everyone's mind was Friday's rally, is it a dead cat bounce or is it a full-blown reversal? And hopefully this video will give you some ideas of what might it be. Let's go over the story of what price action is telling us. We have a classic pattern here: spike and channel. Spike means strong breakout, and then a channel that forms in the same direction as the spike, but at a lesser degree. Now, if I told you that this was a 5-minute chart, a 2,000 tick chart, 10,000 tick chart, you would have no idea just by looking at the chart itself. This is the daily chart. And the thing is about price action is that it works on every single chart. It works for any time frame, any tick frame, whatever you want to use, it always works because it's based on price action. Now, with this channel here, on any other time frame, if I saw a break of the channel like this, the typical thing that should happen is we should come back down to test the bottom of the channel. We should come back down here, and if you look to the left, there is a little gap here, a true gap on the emini, and so I'm thinking we can come back down to fill this gap because it's just a couple points away. These points typically act as magnets, and so if we're close to it, the stronger the pull is, the more likely it will test and touch it. But the question right now is this bar right here, this big green bar, is this going to reverse the market? As you can see, we have a green bar here, we have another green bar here, we have another green bar here, we have another green bar here. Is this green bar simply just like any of these other green bars that ends up eventually reversing the market? And I'm going to tell you what I think is happening, and hopefully that will help us in terms of our trading. Now, this is not financial advice. I am just a panda, and so don't go listening to pandas. But from what I see, and what I typically see in price action, is the key thing is reversals are going to reverse. Reversals are going to reverse. This here, the reason why I think this time it's different is because we have a genuine confirmed reversal here. What do I mean by that? When we look for price action, typically what we want to see is after a break of trend, we look for the new high, and the new high, when it comes back to test the 20 EMA, we're thinking it's going to reverse. So we have a break of trend here, and a new high, and we're thinking when it comes back to the 20 EMA, this is the place where it should reverse, but instead of reversing, it actually makes another new high. And so we're thinking uptrend will continue until said otherwise. And so right now you're not looking for any shorts. Right? We break a trend until you made the new high. Now you're looking, okay, potential shorts, but we're still above the 20 EMA. And then finally we break below the 20 EMA, and we're thinking potential reversal, but instead it bounces back and makes another new high. So we see this pattern again: break of trend, new high, and now we're thinking, okay, this might be the time for the reversal, and all the key things are happening. We see a strong break of the 20 EMA, below the 20 EMA. We have something interesting happening here. What should happen if we're going to continue to trend is this. We call this a two-legged pullback. First pullback, first entry, second pullback, and if you see here, if I zoom in really close, this is a second entry. If I zoom in really close right here, you can see that we went above the previous candle by about 2 to 3 ticks, which triggers the second entry. Typically what happens if we're still in an uptrend, what should happen is this. I'm going to count it as an A, B, C pattern. It's just much easier to say, but still just a two-legged pullback. And what should happen is once we broke above the previous candle's high, we should get a pattern that looks like this. We should have bursted upwards. We should be seeing A, B, C, and once we break previous candle's high, we should see a pattern that looks like this, continuing the uptrend off the 20 EMA. But never before in the last 3 years on the S&P 500 have we got a genuine trap, a genuine trap on the daily chart. What do I mean by genuine trap? On the second entry, there has never been a time in S&P 500 last 3 years where we didn't make more than a point. Even if it's counter trend, it makes at least 1 point. For instance, here's a counter trend second entry. This still makes at least 1 point. Here, we make less than 1 point, never before happening, and then we see this magenta box with the two-legged pullback indicator telling us it's a trap. And instead of doing what it should be doing, we get the opposite. Instead of going up, we get this strong move down. Now, this move down here is, to me, confirmation that the reversal has happened. Not that it's just a reversal, but a confirmed reversal. Now, it's even being more confirmed because the previous pivot high, right? We see that this is a pivot high because this is the high, right, before we break the pivot low, which is here. And so we consider this a pivot high, making lower highs. And again, look at lower lows. Confirmed resistance off the 20 EMA. Also, confirming the reversal pattern here. Now I'm going to just draw a small channel here. And this is the downtrend. For me, this is a confirmed downtrend. And I will think it's a downtrend. I'll continue to think it's a downtrend until proven otherwise. And so we have a downtrend here. We have broke below the downtrend, and now we broke above it, right? Overshoot to the downside, overshoot to the upside. And we're coming back into the channel here. And so you could even, with this new low, you could even adjust this channel now to look something more like this. You can see a broader channel here forming. Now the big question is, this big rally on Friday, a lot of people were probably caught off guard by that. Also, let me mention here, we have an entire two-legged pullback that formed here. It's a hidden two-legged pullback, but it's a two-legged pullback. A, B, C pattern, good signal bar. And I did mention if this triggered, right, we'll get probably another move down and probably a new low. And that's what we got. We got the new low, broke the previous pivot low, and we finally got it, and now it's reversing here. But the big question is on everyone's mind, is this the bounce back? Are we going to make all-time highs from here? My final answer to this, personally, in my opinion, is no, according to the price action. When I read this price action, even though we see a strong bull bar here, in my opinion, if you look to the left of the chart, I'm not convinced that this is the reversal. Basically, what would it take to convince me that the downtrend is no longer valid? Of course, new all-time highs. That would easily, right, that's definitively, right, makes it so this downtrend is over. But that's not very helpful. I think for me, what could happen here is we can break, if we break Friday's high, typical price action could bring us to a first entry here, or if we're lucky, we can get a second entry to the 20 EMA and come back down, right? So we can make an actionable trade. But in my opinion, the 20 EMA will act as resistance. If the 20 EMA doesn't act as resistance, then I'm looking at the top of this channel to act as resistance. And it could be possible, pandas, that we get something that looks like this. A breakout of this channel. And I'm drawing this very specifically to end right here. and I'm thinking it could reverse. This to me is a very possible scenario. Now, when you see this, you're thinking, okay, the trend is going to reverse, but pandas, remember what I said, reversals are going to reverse. This to me is a confirmed reversal, and even if we have a strong rally, as long as we don't make new all-time highs, we're still in a downtrend, in my opinion, ready to make a new low. This pattern does happen sometimes, but in my opinion, because of this reversal confirmed, especially with another two-legged pullback right after it, right, completing this swing here, right, two legs for a complete swing, right, we have a lower high and a lower low. So this is a possible scenario. This is a possible scenario, right, coming to the channel. This is a possible scenario because around this time, the 20 EMA will probably be around here. Any of these things can happen in my opinion, but I think the downtrend will continue even with a strong rally like that. Again, also combined with the fact that typical price action on a spike in channel is that we come back to the bottom of the channel to test it. The reason being we test the bottom of channels is because that was an important point, or it's an important price for traders, right? Because those who shorted here are looking to get out here, and those who missed this big channel are trying to come back in here looking for a, right, some sort of double bottom, right, trying to come back up thinking it might make a double top and they want to try to get it the second time. And so these things typically act as important places for traders to come in. If we come back to the bottom of the channel, we could bounce all the way back up, creating a trading range, or we can find some support there and then continue to go downwards. In my opinion, if we come down here, it's a little difficult to say, but if we come back down here, if we see another reversal pattern such as this on the place where we should reverse, then you're looking to go long. So in my opinion, I think the downtrend is going to continue, but that does not mean that we can't have green days, right? We can have some bull days throughout this down channel or this downtrend, and or descending channel rather, and we can have some bull bars in here. But in the bigger picture in the daily, I think we have much more room to go down, and that's just according to price action. I'm just looking at the price action and reading what typically happens. So that's the story I think price action is telling us. So even though we have a strong rally here, in my opinion, because of the confirmed reversal, right now we have this downtrend breaking below the channel here, I think we have plenty of room to go down. That's my update on the S&P 500. I'm going to go into a little more details. If you want to stick around, continue watching. But if you enjoyed the content so far, make sure you scalp that like button and subscribe. Now I'm going to show you an example of what happens on these reversals here and why I think these reversals are so important, and why am I allowing it to influence what I think is going to happen. I'm going to go to the 10,000 tick chart. And again, if I showed you this chart, you would have no idea what time frame this is. You would think this could be the daily, this could be the weekly, the monthly. It doesn't matter because it's based on price action. But I want to show you an example of what kind of happens on reversal patterns here. We see here a reversal pattern. Again, two-legged pullback. A, B, C. We're breaking below the 20 EMA, which should, alert some of you guys. And then here we have a two-legged pullback. What should happen is that we should come up like this to continue the uptrend, but rather instead of going up like this, we broke down and reversed. Now this reversal has essentially no follow-through, and what happens is that we actually come back up and break the reversal point. And this is what I'm saying. Even though it breaks the reversal point, but the fact that this reversal had happened, reversals are going to reverse. So even with this reversal point, guess what happens? The market makes another two-legged move, two-legged pullback here, and after it makes this another two-legged move, it finally does reverse and breaks down, right, with a strong downtrend. And this is what I'm expecting to see, right, on this strong downtrend. Right, so we have uptrend here, break a trend, new high, and with this new high here, we see that we have the reversal pattern with a magenta box, and even though we have this reversal pattern and we broke above it, we're still in the downtrend in my opinion, unless we made a new high here. But because we cannot make the new high, we make another two-legged pullback. That two-legged move is done. The market is done making that move, And now when it's done, it makes a strong move down. As you can see here, huge move down. Break of trend, new high, huge move down. Again, let me show you another place where we see the same thing. We have here a two-legged pullback, A, B, C, and what should have happened is right here on the second entry, it should go back up off the 20 EMA. But rather, instead of doing that, it comes down and creates this reversal pattern. And the reversal pattern you can easily see with just a magenta box, right? You have an uptrend and then it breaks below the 20 EMA, and we have a magenta box below the 20 EMA. This to me confirms, right, a downtrend. This makes a downtrend. But even with this downtrend, we see that the market does come back up above the original reversal point, which is where the magenta box gets triggered. But notice here, pandas, again, it makes a two-legged move, A, B, C, and that move is complete. And finally, after that move, it makes another push down, right, completing this reversal here, this reversal swing. So pandas, that's why it's important, right, to look for these reversal patterns. When we have a two-legged move, it should have gone up, but rather comes back down and triggers this reversal pattern here. That's what I'm seeing here on the daily. Coming back to daily, we see the same thing. Reversal pattern here with the magenta box below the 20 EMA, and we come back here. We couldn't even break above the previous pivot high, but in my opinion, we can still do it. Something like this, we can still do it, but I think it's unlikely. That to me is the most unlikely scenario. Most likely, we'll come back up to the 20 EMA, and I would say probably it won't even be a two-legged pullback. It'll be a first entry, test that 20 EMA, and then we might just reverse there. But it'd be nice if we can get a 20 EMA, right? Maybe a lower high, second entry, something like this along these lines off the 20 EMA. That'd be a very good setup, in my opinion. That, or we come here to test the top of this channel, and those are my two setups I will be looking for on the daily here. So, do I think this is the reversal of this downtrend? I do not. I think this is the big one because we see this reversal pattern confirmed with a two-legged pullback, making a lower high pivot. I still think we have plenty of room to go down, pandas. And the clear target, in my opinion, is the bottom of this channel, which is right here. But we also have the gap here, so I think we potentially can come back to this gap and fill this gap here as well. So that's what I'm thinking here. And that's it for my weekend update. Make sure you scalp that like button if you enjoy this. And hey, pandas, as always, happy trading. God bless. I'll see you guys bright and early on Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, where we stream every single day on the trading days. So hopefully you guys can join us there.